Welcome to Agentic Workflows The Money Series, Episode 4, Email and Gmail MCP Automation.
It is good to be back.
I have to tell you, I've been just vibrating with excitement for this one. We've spent the last few episodes doing some incredibly heavy lifting.
We really have. Building the foundations.
Exactly. We've built the brain. We've taught the AI how to plan, how to think strategically, even how to go out and scrape data from the web like a digital bloodhound.
Yeah.
But today feels different. Today feels like we are finally crossing the bridge from just generating text to actually taking action. We are crossing that last mile.
That is, I think, the perfect way to frame it. Because if you think about business, real, actual cash flow business, it rarely happens just because you generated a document.
Right.
You can have the most beautiful business plan, the most eloquent proposal, or the smartest strategy sitting on your hard drive, but until it moves, until it reaches someone else, it's just pixels.
A proposal sitting on my desktop is just a file. A proposal in a client's inbox is a potential deal.
Precisely. And that is why today is so significant. We are moving away from the AI as a content generator, a very smart typewriter, and moving toward the AI as an operator.
We're giving it hands.
We are giving the brain hands. And specifically, we're giving it access to the universal interface of business.
Email. And the magic wand that makes this happen, and I use the term magic wand loosely because it's actually a very specific piece of technology, is this thing called the Gmail MCP.
Right.
Now, before we dive into the how-to, which is honestly kind of mind-blowing in its simplicity, we need to unpack this acronym, MCP. It sounds like something from the original Tron movie. It sounds scary.
It does have a bit of a sci-fi master control program ring to it, doesn't it?
It really does. But in plain English, for the person listening who might be a freelancer or a business owner but not, a software engineer, what are we looking at here? Is this a robot? Is it a plugin? What is an MCP?
So MCP stands for Model Context Protocol. But let's just strip the jargon away immediately because the name makes it sound way more complicated than it is.
Please.
Think of MCP as a universal translator, or, even better, a USB port for artificial intelligence.
A USB port. Okay, I like that image. Let's unpack this.
Well, think about your laptop. You have a USB port on the side. That port is a standard, right?
Right.
It allows you to plug in a mouse, a keyboard, a printer, or an external hard drive. Your laptop doesn't need to be permanently hardwired to that specific Epson printer at the factory.
No, it just works.
It just needs a standard way to talk to it. You plug it in, the computer recognizes it, and suddenly you can print.
Okay, I plug it in, it works. I don't have to solder wires together.
Exactly. MCP does the same thing for large language models, like Claude. It allows you to plug in external tools like Gmail, Google Drive, Slack, or a local database directly into the AI. It standardizes how the AI connects to the outside world.
So instead of me having to write a million lines of custom code to teach Claude how to talk to Gmail's API specifically, I just plug in the Gmail MCP.
That is the core function. Without MCP, every time you wanted an AI to use a tool, you'd have to build a custom bridge, a custom piece of software.
Which is a huge pain.
A huge pain. With MCP, the bridge is already built. It gives the AI the ability to see your inbox, read the context of a thread, and physically hit the send button. It transforms the AI from a chatbot that lives in a bubble into an agent that lives in your ecosystem.
That is a massive shift. So structurally, how does this work? I know in the source material they talk about the client and the server. That usually implies a complex IT setup.
It's actually quite straightforward. Keep that brain and hands analogy.
Yeah.
The MCP client is the AI application you're using.
Okay.
In the context of the course we are analyzing, that's usually Claude code running in your terminal or your IDE. That's the brain. It's the entity doing the thinking and the planning.
Brain, got it.
Then you have the MCP server. That is the connector. In this case, it's the Gmail MCP server. It sits between the brain and the actual Gmail API, Google's servers.
The middleman.
The middleman, exactly. And inside that MCT server, you have resources, tools, and prompts.
Tools being the key word there, I'm guessing.
Yes. Tools are the specific functions the server exposes to the brain. Think of them as verbs. The Gmail MCP server basically says to Claude, hey, I'm here, and because I'm here, you can now do these things. Read mail, search threads, or the big one, send mail.
So it's like downloading a skill into the matrix. Suddenly the AI knows Kung Fu, or in this case, it knows how to manage my inbox.
Exactly. It extends the capabilities of the model beyond just text processing to actual tool execution.
Okay, so we have the concept down. It's a USB port that lets the AI use Gmail tools. Now let's talk about the setup, because in the old days, and by old days I mean like 6 months ago, connecting an app to the Gmail API well, it was a headache.
It was a significant barrier to entry, for sure.
You're dealing with the Google Cloud Console, creating projects, enabling APIs, generating credentials, verifying the app. It was a nightmare.
It really was. You basically had to be a junior DevOps engineer just to get permission to send an email via script. It stopped a lot of people from automating their work.
But the way the instructor in our source material does it is almost laughably easy. It was so fast I almost missed it. He doesn't write the code. He just tells the agent to do it.
That is the theme of this entire Money series, isn't it?
Yeah.
You are not the coder. You are the architect.
Hmm.
The instructor literally opens his terminal and types into the prompt, hey, I want to set up a Gmail MCP so I can send emails on demand.
That's it. That's the prompt.
That is the prompt. He states his intent, and the agent takes over. It acts as the engineer. It checks the environment. It realizes, okay, to do this, I need authentication. And this is where we get into OAuth.
OAuth, the thing that makes the little pop-up window appear asking for permission.
Exactly. The agent checks for existing credentials. If it doesn't find them, it guides you, the user, through the Google Cloud Console authentication flow.
Mm-hmm.
It basically says, hey, I need you to log in here.
So the browser just pops up.
The browser pops up, just like you're logging into a website with your Google account. You click Allow on your Gmail account, and it captures the refresh token.
And this is where I usually get nervous. Where does that token go? I don't want my secret access keys floating around in a chat window or some temporary file where they can be stolen.
And this is a crucial security detail that the agent handles automatically. It uses the .env file.
The .env file, we hear that a lot in coding tutorials. The environment file.
Think of the .env file, your environment file, as a secure, heavy-duty locker for your secrets. It's a file that lives in your project folder but is never shared publicly, never checked into GitHub.
Okay, that's important.
Very. The agent automatically takes those tokens, or app-specific passwords it got from Google, and updates that file. It locks them away so the agent can use them to sign in. But you don't have to manually copy-paste strings of gibberish into your code. The agent handles all the plumbing.
And then there's the classic turn it off and on again moment.
Always. You have to restart the Claude code instance or your IDE to load the new server. It's like installing a new driver on your computer. A quick reboot locks it in so the brain knows the hands are there and ready to go.
So once that is done, we have the hello world moment. I love this part of the source material because it's so simple but so visceral. The instructor just says, send an email to this address saying, what's up?
And this is the moment of truth. Usually when we work with AI, we get text back on a screen. Here is a draft of an email. We read it, we nod, and then we have to go do the work of sending it.
Right, the copy-paste dance.
But this time, the agent executes the tool. It hits the API.
And what happens?
You see a little confirmation in the terminal that the tool was called, but the real proof is in the other window. He opens his inbox and dink, there it is. A real email sent by machine arrives in seconds.
No drafting in a separate window, no copy-pasting, just command execution.
It creates a feedback loop that is just incredibly powerful. Once you see that email arrive, you realize, oh, this isn't a toy. This isn't just a chatbot. This is an employee.
Exactly, an employee.
Yeah.
And once you have an employee, you don't just ask them to say, what's up? You give them real work. This brings us to the practical use cases. The instructor didn't just stop at sending one-off emails. He built workflows.
Right. And workflow is the operative word here. Sending an email is a task. A workflow is a sequence of value. The first scenario he showed was the onboarding flow.
Oh, this is something every freelancer or agency owner listening to this deals with. You sign a new client, you pop the champagne, and then the admin work hits you like a truck.
Yes.
You have to send the welcome email, here's the team blurb, the book your kickoff call link. It's so repetitive.
It is the definition of mundane administration.
Yes.
It's high stakes because it's the first impression, but it's low leverage because it's the same thing every single time. So the instructor created an automation onboard client email address. That's the trigger.
And what does the agent do?
It uses a template, but an intelligent one. The instructor provided a rough draft, just a scratch pad of points. Welcome them, introduce the team, here's the calendar link.
Okay.
The AI takes that, polishes it into a professional warm email, connects to the Gmail MCP, and just sends it.
And crucially, it inserts the correct up-to-date calendar link, not last month's link.
Yes. And think about the mental load that removes.
Yeah.
You are not worrying about, did I attach the right link? Did I spell their name right? Did I use the updated pricing PDF? You just command the outcome, onboard them, and it's done.
There was another use case that I found even more impressive because it involved reading, not just writing, the school community example.
Ah, yes. This is where we see the agent acting as like a community manager.
Yeah.
The instructor runs the community on the platform school. He gets tons of questions from students.
How do I install Python? Where is the link for the Tuesday call? Things like that.
Exactly. And he can't sit there monitoring the feed 24/7.
Of course not.
So he set up a workflow where the agent acts as a watchdog. It monitors the feed. It identifies questions. But here is the kicker. It doesn't just hallucinate an answer. It checks a knowledge base to see if this question has been answered before.
So it's doing grounded research. It's not just making stuff up.
It's doing research. It drafts a reply. And then, using the email integration we've been talking about, it sends a summary email to the instructor saying, here are the actions I took. Here are the replies I drafted. Do you want me to post them?
That is the human in the loop aspect we will talk about later, but I love that it proactively notifies him. It's not just doing work in the dark. It turns the instructor from a writer of answers to a reviewer of answers. Huge difference.
It closes the loop. And then the third scenario, which is, the holy grail for sales, cold outreach and follow-ups.
Oh, yes. The money part of the money series.
If you are sending cold emails to scrape leads, the volume is high. Managing the replies is the bottleneck. You might send 500 emails. Getting 50 replies sounds great until you realize 40 of them are unsubscribe or go away.
Right. And waiting through the go-aways to find the one or two tell me more replies takes forever.
Exactly. The agent can use the Gmail MCP to read the incoming replies and flag them, categorize them.
Wait, it can tell the difference between stop emailing me and let's book a call.
Exactly. It distinguishes sentiment. So you can wake up and just look at the folder of positive replies rather than wading through hundreds of rejections. That is a massive time saver.
It's filtering the noise so you can focus on the signal. That's incredible. Now, all of this so far has relied on the standard Gmail MCP, but the instructor took it a step further. He built a custom MCP server for his own agency, leftclick.ai.
This is where we move from being a consumer of tools to a builder. Because here's the problem with the standard tools. Claude knows how to use Gmail. It knows how to use Google Drive. But Claude doesn't know your business.
Right. Claude doesn't know my current pricing. It doesn't know my specific service list or my booking link unless I paste it in every single time.
And pasting it in every time is inefficient and prone to error. You might paste in the old link. So he asked the agent to build a custom server. Again, note the method. He didn't write the Python code from scratch. He asked the agent, create a simple MCP server to interact with my website.
And the agent just wrote the code. It created a server.py file, managed the dependencies of the TOMML file, all of that.
All of it. And it exposed 5 specific functions. This is really cool. It created tools called Get Company Overview.
So what do you do?
Yep. Get services.
What do you sell?
Exactly. Get booking link, get case studies, and a general search site.
So now, if he asks the agent, draft a proposal for this client and include our case studies, the agent doesn't have to guess or look at an old file.
It doesn't guess. It calls Get Case Studies from the custom server. It gets the ground truth directly from the source. It eliminates hallucination regarding his own business data.
It effectively gives the AI a hard line to your internal database. Here is the truth. Use it.
That is the perfect way to put it. It turns your business logic into a reusable tool. Instead of prompt engineering every single time to remind the AI what you do, you just give it a tool that says, here is what we do.
However, and there is always a however in this series, it sounds perfect. It sounds like, why wouldn't I just wrap my entire life in an MCP? Why wouldn't I build a tool for every single thing I do? But the instructor drops a bomb in this episode, a very specific, very alarming statistic.
MCP eats 8.2% of your context window.
That is precise. And it sounds expensive. Can you break that down? What does it mean that it eats the window?
It is the cost of convenience. We have to understand what happens when you plug in that USB port. When you load an MCP server, whether it's Gmail, Drive, or your custom left-click server, the definition of every single tool in that server gets loaded into the AI's short-term memory, its context window.
Wait, so even if I'm not using the tool right now, even if I'm just saying hello, just having it available takes up space.
Exactly. It loads the name of the tool, the description of what it does, and the schema, which is the technical instruction manual for how to use it. It's like walking into a test. But before you start, you have to memorize the entire instruction manual for a graphing calculator, protractor, and a microscope, even if the test is just about history.
And the math on that adds up fast.
Incredibly fast. If a server has 10 tools, and each tool definition is roughly 300 tokens, Connecting 5 servers can instantly burn 15,000 tokens. That is 15,000 tokens gone before you have even typed a single word of your actual request.
And we know from previous episodes that context pollution is a real thing. It's not just about the cost in dollars, it's about the cost in intelligence.
That is the bigger issue. As the context window fills up with garbage, or in this case unused tool definitions, the model's reasoning ability drops. The source material references a graph showing accuracy plummeting as context limits are reached. You might go from 75% accuracy on a complex task down to 50% or 60%.
You're distracting the brain. It's like trying to do algebra while memorizing a grocery list you might not even need.
And you are paying for every single one of those tokens on every single message exchange. It is a double penalty. You pay more money to get a dumber agent.
So what is the solution? Do we abandon MCP? It seems too useful to give up entirely.
No, we don't abandon it. We use it wisely. The expert advice here is don't use MCP for everything. Use it for ad hoc tasks. Use it for rapid prototyping when you just want to get something working quickly to see if it's even possible.
But for the heavy lifting, for the stuff you do every day.
For production workflows, things you run every day, thousands of times, you want to use execution scripts. These are deterministic Python scripts.
We talked about these in the last episode, the doers.
We did. Code is cheaper and faster than AI context. If you know exactly how to scrape a website, write a script for it. Don't make the AI figure out the tool schema and all that overhead every single time. Save the brain power for the thinking. Use the scripts for the doing.
Okay, that is a crucial distinction. MCP for flexibility and prototyping, scripts for scale and production.
Correct. Use the right tool for the job.
Now let's pull all of this together. The money series, promise. We want to see a full pipeline that actually generates revenue. The instructor walk through a workflow that combines everything. Scraping, planning, and emailing.
This is the Upwork pipeline, and it really does connect all the dots we've been talking about.
Walk us through it from start to finish.
Okay, step 1, scrape. An agent watches Upwork for jobs matching specific keywords, like AI automation. It's looking for leads.
Standard scraping, we know this part.
Step 2, analyze. The agent reads the job description. It figures out what the client actually needs. Step 3, propose. The agent generates a personalized cover letter and proposal based on the user's resume and skills, which it has access to.
And this is where the email component, the MCP, comes in.
Exactly. Step 4, instead of the user manually copying that proposal, opening Gmail, pasting it in, finding the email address, all that manual work, the agent connects to the Gmail MCP.
And it drafts the email.
It drafts the email to the client. Or, more often in this workflow, it drafts an email to the user for review. And that email includes a link to a Google Sheet containing all the leads it found and the draft proposals it wrote for each one.
So the user just wakes up in the morning, opens a spreadsheet, clicks a link, reviews the draft that's already written, and then hits send.
That is the workflow. The instructor emphasizes the speed difference. What used to take 20 minutes per proposal, reading, thinking, writing, formatting, emailing, now takes seconds.
You are essentially scaling yourself. You are cloning your ability to pitch for new work.
You are changing the economics of freelancing. If you can send 10 high-quality proposals in the time it takes a competitor to send just one, you win.
But, and this is a big but, what happens if the AI hallucinates? What if it offers a price of $5 for a $5,000 job? Or it insults the client? Or sends 10,000 emails to the wrong list?
This brings us to the final and maybe most important section, safety guardrails. The human-in-the-loop necessity. You cannot just let these things run wild, especially when they have hands that can touch the outside world.
The instructor has a specific framework for this, right? A decision matrix.
It's a brilliant little mental model. You evaluate a task based on 2 factors, magnitude of outcome and sensitivity to quality.
Let's break those down. Magnitude of outcome.
How big is the impact? Sending 1 email has a low magnitude. Sending 10,000 emails has a massive magnitude. If you mess up 10,000 emails, you can burn your domain reputation. Game over.
Okay, makes sense. And sensitivity to quality.
How bad is a typo? An internal memo to your team saying, pizza is here, low sensitivity, who cares? A client invoice, extremely high sensitivity.
If you add an extra 0 to an invoice, you have a problem. If you miss a 0, you have a worse problem.
Exactly. So the rule is, if both magnitude and sensitivity are high, you must have a human review step. No exceptions.
So how do you implement that technically? Do you just stand over the computer while it works?
No, you use draft mode. You have the agent create drafts in Gmail rather than auto-sending.
Ah, okay, so it does 99% of the work. It writes
Okay.
the email, puts in the subject line, adds the recipient, attaches the file, just leaves it in the drafts folder for you to give the final once over.
Right. Or, in a more automated workflow, the script pauses and asks the user, here is the email I plan to send. Type yes to confirm. A final checkpoint.
That seems like such a small step, but it's the difference between sleeping well at night and waking up in a cold sweat.
The instructor gave a great example. For cold email campaigns sending to thousands, he always reviews the copy, because one error multiplied by 10,000 is a disaster. For invoices, he reviews to ensure the numbers are right. But for low-stakes stuff, an internal update, let it rip.
It's about trust, right? You verify until you trust the agent, but even then, on the high-stakes stuff, you keep a hand on the wheel.
Always keep a hand on the wheel when money or reputation is on the line.
So we have covered a lot today. We've gone from what is MCP to connecting Gmail to building custom servers to the dangers of context pollution, and finally to a full scraping to email pipeline with safety checks.
It is a complete ecosystem. We're moving from passive AI chatbots that talk to us to active AI agents that work for us. We have, as we said, given the brain hands.
And that is a powerful image. But I want to circle back to that warning one last time. MCP is easy. It is seductive. But it is expensive in terms of brain power, in terms of tokens.
Use it wisely. Do not clutter the brain with tools it doesn't need. Keep the context clean and your agent will stay smart.
Scrape, propose, email automated. Episode 5, Finding Leads Outside Upwork.